You know that friend who never flinches? The one who gets bad news and just nods like they've been expecting it their whole life? Everyone thinks they're unbothered, zen, maybe even a little cold. But here's the thing nobody talks about. People who are always calm aren't calm because nothing bothers them. They're calm because everything already did. Let me explain. There's this moment that happens to certain people, usually somewhere between childhood and their early 20s, where the world teaches them a very specific lesson. It teaches them that panic doesn't help, that crying doesn't change the outcome, that losing control just makes things worse, so they stop. They learn to absorb chaos the way a sponge absorbs water, quietly, completely, without making a sound. And once you learn that skill, you don't unlearn it, you just get better at it. You become someone who can sit in a burning building and calmly look for the exits while everyone else is screaming, not because you're brave, because you've been burned before. Psychologists call this affect regulation, which is a fancy way of saying you've trained your nervous system to stay flat when most people would spike. But here's what makes it interesting. It's not usually a conscious choice. It's a survival response that got wired in so early you don't even remember deciding to be this way. You just are. And the people around you, they think you're impressive, mysterious, maybe a little intimidating. What they don't realize is that the calmest person in the room is often the one who's already survived their worst-case scenario. You're not unshaken, you're pre-shaken. Here's where it gets complicated, because once you become that person, once you're known as the steady one, the unflappable one, the rock, you can't really stop. People start to rely on it. They bring you their chaos because you don't add to it. They tell you their problems because you won't make it about yourself. And you handle it. Of course you do. You always handle it. But here's the trade-off nobody mentions. When you're always the calm one, nobody checks on you. Because calm people don't need help, right? Calm people are fine. Except you're not always fine. You're just better at hiding it than most people are at noticing. There's this concept in psychology called emotional granularity, which basically means how well you can identify and differentiate your own feelings. And a lot of perpetually calm people, their granularity is incredibly high when it comes to other people's emotions, and incredibly low when it comes to their own. You can read a room like a book. You know when someone's off before they even say a word. But if someone asks how you're doing, you blank. You say fine. You mean it, sort of, because you've become so good at not feeling your own feelings in real time that by the time you do feel them, they're 3 weeks old and showing up as a headache. If this is hitting a little too close to home, do me a favor and drop a comment. Tell me I'm wrong, or tell me I'm right. Either way, I want to hear from you. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and fix that, because we're just getting started. Now let's talk about relationships, because this is where it gets messy. When you're someone who's always calm, you end up attracting two types of people. The first type loves your stability. They feel safe with you. They think you're mature, grounded, the kind of person they can build a life with, and maybe you are. But the second type, they're drawn to you because they're the opposite, chaotic, impulsive, emotionally volatile, and they think you're going to balance them out. Spoiler alert, you won't. What'll happen instead is you'll absorb their chaos until you're silently drowning, and they'll never even know because you'll still look calm on the surface. Here's the paradox. Calm people are often deeply emotional. You feel everything, you just don't show it, because somewhere along the way, you learned that expressing emotion made you vulnerable, and vulnerability didn't feel safe, so you buried it. Not forever, just long enough to deal with whatever emergency was happening. Except life kept handing you emergencies, and you kept postponing the feeling part, and now you're 30-something years old realizing you've been holding your breath for a decade. There's this researcher, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who wrote a book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's all about how trauma doesn't just live in your memories, it lives in your muscles, your nervous system, your automatic responses. And I think a lot of perpetually calm people are walking around with bodies that remember things their minds have moved on from. You don't panic when the car breaks down because your body already knows that panic doesn't fix engines. You don't cry when someone leaves because your nervous system learned a long time ago that people leave whether you cry or not. You just adapted. And adaptation, when it's done early and done often, starts to look like personality. But here's the thing that makes you different from people who are calm because life's been easy. You have depth. You have perspective. You've seen enough to know that most problems aren't actually the end of the world, even when they feel like it. And that makes you someone people trust, someone people confide in, someone people remember. Because when everyone else is losing it, you're the one who stays lucid. And there's power in that, real power, the kind you can't fake. Here's what I want you to understand. Being calm isn't a weakness, even if it came from pain. It's a skill, a superpower if we're being honest. But like any superpower, it comes with a cost. And the cost is that you have to be intentional about letting people in. You have to remind yourself that not every situation requires you to be the strong one, that sometimes it's okay to fall apart, to be messy, to let someone else hold the weight for a minute. Because the thing about being calm all the time is that it's lonely. People admire you from a distance, but they don't always know how to get close. So if you're someone who's always calm, if you're the person people call in a crisis, if you've ever had someone say, "I don't know how you do it," and you thought to yourself, "I don't either, I just don't have a choice," I see you. I know what it took to build that kind of composure. I know it wasn't free. You're not cold, you're not unfeeling, you're not a robot. You're someone who learned early that the world doesn't stop for your panic, so you stopped panicking. And maybe that made you resilient. Maybe it made you wise, but it also made you tired. And that's okay to admit. You're the person who stands still in the storm, not because the wind doesn't touch you, but because you've learned to root yourself so deep that nothing can knock you over. And that's not nothing. That's everything. If this video made you feel something, hit that like button, share it with someone who gets it, and subscribe because I've got a lot more where this came from. Thanks for being here. Now go be calm, but also go be honest. You've earned both.